All right, everybody, welcome back to Vuln Vibes, the show where we take a deep dive into the latest and greatest in the world of cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Now, I know what you're thinking. SQL injection vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly sound like a recipe for a thrilling Tuesday afternoon. But trust me, folks, this one's got some serious bite to it.
Yeah, this is not one to sleep on.
We're talking data breaches, system takeovers, the whole shebang.
Mm.
And to walk us through this digital minefield, we've got a true cybersecurity guru in the house.
Hey, happy to be here.
Always a pleasure.
I've seen a lot of SQL injection attacks in my time, and this one's definitely got my spidey senses tingling.
So for our listeners who might not be as familiar with the dark arts of SQL injection, can we break it down a bit?
Sure.
What exactly are we dealing with here?
So basically, it's a way for hackers to kind of like slip in a secret message into a website or applications database.
Like a little Trojan horse.
Yeah, exactly like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
You've got a website with a login form, a normal user, they just type in their username and password. But an attacker, they're going to try to inject some SQL code into those fields.
And that code, that's where the trouble starts.
Exactly. If the website isn't properly protected, that code can actually get executed, giving the attacker access to, sensitive information or even control over the entire system.
Okay, so we're not just talking about, like, swiping a few passwords here.
No, no, no. This is like full-on digital domination.
Right. And today's episode is all about a specific vulnerability in the Broadcom VMware Avi Load Balancer,
That's right.
which is kind of like the air traffic control tower of the internet, right?
It's a good analogy, yeah. It's basically responsible for directing traffic between different servers, making sure everything's running smoothly.
But this vulnerability throws a pretty big wrench in the works.
Yeah, it does. Discovered by researchers Daniel Kukutska and Mateo Izdarda.
It's got a CVE number, a CVSS score.
All the bells and whistles.
Yeah, we're talking DEFCON 1 level stuff here.
Oh yeah, this is serious. And what makes this vulnerability particularly tricky is that it's a blind SQL injection.
Okay, blind, what does that mean?
So in a normal SQL injection attack, the attacker would see the results of their code immediately. But with a blind injection, they're working in the shadows. They might not see immediate results, but they can still be manipulating the database behind the scenes.
So it's like they're rigging the system and then just slipping away unnoticed.
Exactly. They could be siphoning off data-changing permissions, even laying the groundwork for a full-blown system takeover.
All very quietly?
Yep, all under the radar.
So we've established this is bad, but just how bad are we talking?
Well, potentially catastrophic. We're talking data breaches that could expose sensitive customer information, financial records, proprietary algorithms, you name it. And once an attacker has that kind of access, it's game over.
But what's the cure? Is there like a digital first aid kit we can use to patch this thing up?
Well, unfortunately, there's no quick fix here. The only real solution is to patch your system immediately. Broadcom has already released a fixed version 30.1.22p2.
So no time to waste.
Absolutely not.
Got to get on that right away.
Oh.
And speaking of versions, it's interesting that older versions of the software aren't affected. Is this a case of like the oldies are the goodies when it comes to cybersecurity?
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Sometimes older versions can actually be more secure simply because attackers haven't bothered to target them.
Makes sense. But it's not a foolproof strategy.
Yeah, no, definitely not. The best approach is always to stay up to date with the latest security patches, regardless of the version you're running.
So, bottom line, folks, patch those systems.
Patch, patch, patch.
No excuses.
It's like brushing your teeth for your computer.
Right. Keep those digital pearly whites sparkling. And before we wrap up, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember from today's deep dive?
I'd say vigilance is key. Stay informed about the latest threats. Keep your systems updated, and never underestimate the creativity of attackers.
Because they're always coming up with new tricks.
Oh yeah, they're always one step ahead.
It's like a never-ending game of cat and mouse.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, everyone go check your systems. Make sure you're patched up. And stay safe out there in the digital Wild West. Until next time, stay curious and stay secure.